Hello, my name is Srini Chavali and I'm with the Exalogic product management team. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Exalogic EBS VM templates. This is our standard non-disclosure slide. Here are the contents of today's presentation. We are going to go over an overview, followed by some general guidelines. Then specifically we'll talk about 12.1.3 templates, followed by 12.2.3 templates, and then some sizing guidelines. From an overview perspective, on a typical installation process, what we have is that you typically install hardware or procure hardware first, and then install all of your applications and wire them together. These steps typically take some time, some days, weeks, months, depending on how your IT organization is set up. And what VM templates do is shorten that time period. They provide a very quick and easy way to deploy pre-built virtual machines with the software deployed. So let's take a look at the process to deploy these templates on Exalogic. The first step is that you would download these templates from eDelivery. There are two separate templates or sets of templates, one for 12.1.3 and the other for 12.2.3. And there are two specific documents that detail out these steps for each of these sets of templates, and those document numbers are mentioned on the slide. Once you download these templates, you then upload them or import them into Enterprise Manager Operations Center, which is part of your Exalogic software stack. Once you import the templates into EMOC, you can then deploy virtual machines using these templates. And then finally, you can customize these templates as needed and save them off as gold versions of your own specific templates. Let's take a look at some general guidelines. Obviously, you need to download these templates from eDelivery. This is a one-time requirement. The download time will depend on your network configuration. Some of these templates are large, up to 31 gig in size. Please make sure that you verify integrity and checksums on these files after you download them to make sure that you don't have issues later on when implementing or deploying these templates. Again, there's a one-time requirement to upload these templates into EMOC in Exalogic. Again, because these templates are large in size, the upload time will also take some time depending on what your network configuration is. And the last guideline here is that we do provide database templates for convenience only. Please note that Exalogic does not officially support databases being run on it. Any load-bearing eBusiness Suite database should be deployed on a database-specific machine such as Exadata or ODA. Let's dig into some details about 12.1.3 templates. So typically in an installation, you cannot install 12.1.3. You have to start with a 12.1.1 install, upgrade the database to 11.204, upgrade the Forms home, upgrade the OC4J home, upgrade Java, then apply the 12.1.3 RUP, and finally verify and test configuration. With the templates, all of those steps are already done for you. All you need to do is create a database 12.1.3 virtual machine, an application 12.1.3 machine, and wire them together. The traditional install can take many days, and whereas the template install can typically done in about 90 minutes to 2 hours. So 12.1.3, the templates, all of the steps are in MOSDoc 1499132.1. There are two templates available, one each for the database tier and one for the application tier. The database tier template is a Vision template, which is about 31 gig in size, and it's based on a Linux 5.6 image. The application tier template is about 13 gig in size, and it is also based on a Linux 5.6 image. The templates include some Exalogic specific optimizations such as OS kernel parameters and EBS JVM settings. What we will need to do is create a DB tier template for each of these, for the database as well as the application tier. Each template or each V server will need to have at least 4 CPUs and 16 gig of RAM. We are currently looking at re-releasing the 12.1.3 templates since they are ancient and need some updates, especially with the latest RUP being released. So some more details: you create a vServer with four CPUs and 16 gig of RAM using the Vision DB tier template. This will take approximately 45 minutes. And then you configure the DB tier services using the included script named config.sh, and that will take somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. Then you follow that up with creating an application vServer, again 4 CPUs, 16 gig of RAM using the application tier template. This will take approximately 15 minutes. And then once the application tier vServer is created, you have to ensure connectivity to the database vServer, essentially modify the etc host config file. And then there's a config script on the application tier that wires the two VMs together. And this essentially creates a fully functional EBS Vision install that is capable of supporting up to 400 concurrent users. Let's take a look at details about 12.2.3 templates. The same process flow as for 12.1.3 applies. There is no 12.2.3 install. You have to install 12.2.0 and then apply database or tech patches, followed by the 12.2.3 rep patch. Again, this, if done the traditional way, might take a few days, whereas with the templates, we can have a fully installed instance, 12.2.3 instance, up and running in about 2 hours. With 12.2, there have been a lot of changes in the EBS technology stack. WebLogic Server is new, and with Exalogic, the optimizations included with WebLogic Server can be uptaken on Exalogic with eBusiness Suite. The details about 12.2.3 templates are in MOS Doc 1633952.1. There are 4 templates available for 12.2.3. There are 2 database tier templates and 2 application tier templates. The 2 12.2.3 database tier templates, one is for Vision and one is an empty production database. Both are based off a Linux 5.8 image, with the database version being 11.203. The Vision database template is about 25 gig in size, and the empty production template is about 15 gig in size. On the application tier, again, there are 2 templates available. There is essentially a full application tier template available. That's about 30 gig in size, and that increase in size over the 12.1.3 templates is due to the dual file systems available in 12.2.3. There is also a sparse application tier template available. Both of these application tier templates are also based off of Linux 5.8 images. What the sparse tier template allows you to is scale out horizontally an existing EBS application tier farm. So if you have multiple EBS 12.2.3 application servers, you can add additional application tier servers using a shared Appletop concept. From a deployment perspective, there are 2 deployment choices available: a simple or a quick, where no reconfiguration is necessary, and there is a custom deployment option where some reconfiguration is necessary. So let's take a look at the simple quick option. Essentially, you create a database virtual server named DB. That is a requirement in this case because there's some hard coding in the VM templates for this name. So the database server has to be named DB. Again, the server size has to be at least 4 CPUs and 16 gig of RAM. And you can use either tier template, whether it's Vision or production, to create the vServer. This will take approximately an hour. Similarly, create an application tier template named apps, APPS. Again, this is a restriction for the simple option. Again, use 4 CPUs and 16 gig of RAM at least. And again, this will also take approximately an hour. When you instantiate the VMs, the first thing when you log in to these VMs is that you're asked to change the passwords for root and Oracle. Go ahead and do so. Then ensure that both servers can ping each other, essentially add entries in the etc.host file. And then start up services on both the servers, the database tier first and the application tier, using the standard scripts that are provided in the UO1 directory. And you can essentially create a fully functional EBS install in about 2 hours. If you do not want to use the DB and the app server names, you can choose names of your own choice. If you're following this step, then you will need to do some reconfig. Again, you will need to create a database vServer, same sizes at least, 4 CPUs, 16 gig of RAM, using either DB tier template or the Vision or the production template. Change passwords for root and Oracle once log in. And then there's a config script that allows you to reconfig because you have not named the server DB, and that'll take about 30 minutes or so. Similarly, on the application side, create a vServer with at least 4 CPUs and 16 gig of RAM. Take about an hour to deploy. Once you log in, change the passwords for root and Oracle, and also run the config script included in the template. That'll take about 60 minutes or so. Once you ensure both servers can ping each other, and then start up services on both vServers with the provided scripts, so you can essentially create a fully functional EBS install in about 4 hours. Some sizing guidelines for the mid-tier. So there are 3 portions to the sizing within an EBS mid-tier. One is for sizing for the number of self-service users, also known as the HTML interface. The second sizing portion is for the professional or the forms users. And there's a third sizing component that is required for the concurrent managers. We'll look at the sizing requirements for the first 2, the self-service and the professional interfaces, in the next 2 slides. For 12.1.3 middle tier sizing, there are 2 simple formulae to determine what the memory sizing requirements are for your self-service as well as your forms users. On the 12.2.3 middle tier sizing, this is taken from the documentation for 12.2.3. This talks a little bit about what the sizing of the servers and the memory should be for the various number of users that you may have, both on your professional as well as your self-service interfaces. This concludes this brief presentation about EBS VM templates on Exalogic. Thank you.